Hey there, welcome to Paige's Tabloid for this week's rendition of whatever I'll talk about this time. Someone actually asked me a question that I thought would be fun to address, and the question is, how did I get started in art, I guess? And so I kind of just wrote down some notes so I can make a very long story succinct and short. I imagine that everybody has great stories of how they got started, or if they really think about it, the long, windy road in which we get here to where we are today. And while I don't believe I'm anywhere close to where I want to be, or I have arrived in anywhere in particular, I'm still working on those details. I do want to share how I got here. So I would begin to tell you that I am what I would consider to be a crafter, and I always have. I was a born crafter, always doing something. I am from a young child. I learned things like crochet, knitting, cross stitching, sewing. I did all of those kinds of things, and I really liked them. In fact, sometimes I feel drawn to them, but now I just try to view them as that is just a way to not waste time, but it's not where my focus is right now. But I do feel myself drawn to those kind of things because I've done them my whole life. I know how to do them. I would say I'm fairly good at them too. But what started happening, a bunch of things just lined up. One thing that lined up is, first off, I spent a lot of time in Europe, so I've seen a lot of art, been to many art museums, and I'm, I don't know, pretty particular about the kind of art that I like and that I enjoy taking in. Also, I had a friend that scooped me up one afternoon because she needed a new art piece for her home. And we went all over my city here, which is Annapolis, which is full of art galleries. And I went through and just was blown away by the art. And not necessarily by, I was just blown away by the cost and what people were buying, and I was just like, this is just so interesting to me. So I was just learning. And then another thing happened. I had a friend who had a storage facility that had been filled with art that her and her husband had purchased together. Her husband has since died, and she has downsized considerably, and she had nowhere to put all this art except into a storage unit. And she asked me if I could help her sell it. But she wanted to sell it on like an eBay. So I actually I was shocked by how much art was in there. She handed me a big stack of like papers of emails and certificates of authentication so that I could go through and try to figure out what it is she paid for that art and to see if I could actually recover any of her money. So I got a really good close-up of a lot of these art pieces, and they were all worth, in the thousands of dollars. And yeah, so that was it just gave me a really close-up view. It also just educated me about how the art world works and what it entails. So those two things, with the combination of COVID, really kind of set me on my way. So during COVID, as you know, when we're all sitting around, I was bored as all get out, and I got caught up in watching these crafters on Facebook that would do crafts. Essentially, you know what it was? It was door hangers. They would make door hangers, paint door hangers, and then thousands of people would come on, watch them do this, and then buy their patterns and stuff. I was absolutely blown away by this part of their business, like the marketing of their business. I was just like completely fascinated. So it got me into thinking, because I really love collage. In fact, I have a little secret side account that has some of my collage pieces that I think about all the time and that I would love to get back into. So I started collaging. I actually started collaging on Facebook, and I grew a little audience over there. It was quite easy to do because I think everybody was looking for, something to do. But I didn't keep up with that. But some, like these earlier pieces, I think they're kind of embarrassing, but everyone has to start somewhere. Like, this is like a collage piece. This is all collage. This is collage. They're supposed to be oysters. My husband said they don't look anything like oysters. Anyways, so I started there. I enjoyed it. This is actually not the kind of collage, like this very neat collage. This is not the kind of collage that I do today. I'll show you that some other time. Anyways, then I just started getting deeper. Oh, what happened next is I started to join like a couple of art teachers clubs or classes. So first it was like painting and collage, and I stayed with that teacher, I don't know, like less than 6 months. And then, you feel like, okay, I've learned everything I can from this person. Let me go ahead and move on. Then I bought into another teacher's. By the way, these were all memberships, because memberships are like a very inexpensive monthly payment, but what you learn from them is amazing. Then I joined another membership, and she does mainly painting, and she does painting and uses a lot of Bible verses. She's almost like a pastor. You know what I mean? So she gives uplifting messages, and then she paints these kinds of messages. And I learned so much from her. I think I stayed with her for probably close to a year on her membership site. One of the things that she did is that in her backgrounds, she painted everything, every single painting she started with a black background. So she would paint it black, and then she would go in and paint around it. I think this might be a piece that I got from, but this is not like her. This is just something I did. But I learned that from her. Oh, she also did a lot with did she do a lot with Sharpies? See, I can't remember because everybody starts blending together. Then I left her because I felt like I outgrew, what it is that she was teaching. And then I went to another art membership of a woman who likes to paint a lot of flowers. So I painted flowers and tons of flowers, like some of the pieces I did, like just flowers galore. And I really thought that I was going to paint flowers for the rest of my life. I just really loved it. So then I started moving my work over to Canvas, and I actually listed several of my pieces on Etsy. And this took and then I really didn't do anything about it. I didn't advertise it or tell many people about it. And lo and behold, one person bought something off of it. It was a 12 by 12 canvas piece of a cake. I love to paint cakes, but I don't get to do that as often as I would like. And they paid, what I thought was a really great price for it. And I was just like, oh my gosh. I told my husband, I'm like, you know what this means now? I'm a professional artist. So I don't know if that's true, because I'm definitely not making the mortgage payment or anything like that. So I was just like, I think I'm an artist. And I started, that's a hard word for me, by the way, because I'm very quick to say I'm a crafter, but at some point it does become your own art, and you have to own that word. And it took me a while to own that word. So then after this one piece had sold, I started actually putting photos up on my Instagram of all my art that I was creating, whether it was good or bad. I put up everything because I had to just get as much out there as I could, was my initial thoughts. Well, then something happened that really changed my world. A gallery contacted me. First, she actually bought a couple of my pieces, and then she reached out to me and she said that she was interested in carrying my work. And she'd been a gallerist for 20 plus years. I was blown away. I could not believe it. I just thought, oh my gosh, I have hit the jackpot. And I wasn't terribly successful with this gallery. Let me just throw that out. But what I was highly flattered. She told me everything I needed to hear, but she also told me a lot of things that might have slowed me down a little bit, actually. She actually went through my Instagram account with me and said, take this off, take this off, take this off. Most of it I agreed with, because I was just throwing out everything, and nothing was really cohesive. So I took down all the stuff that had really nothing to do with what I wanted to be doing. A lot of it was this kind of stuff right here. Just take it down and only put up the stuff that I'm really interested in moving. And that, along with the combination of taking an art class, and it had to do with portraits, that just really set me on fire. And I believe that taking all these different classes and membership courses what that did for me was help me find my style and what I enjoyed painting very quickly. And we all had a lot of time on our hands, right? So I would paint for days and days and days at a time. If I've showed this on here many times before, or on my other channels, of just how much art I have laying around my studio here. It's a lot. It's a lot, because and a lot of it I would never let anybody like walk out of here with, but I can do other things with it. Like some of it is just ridiculous. Like this is ridiculous. But the fact is I did this, I learned a lot from it, and I still apply the things I learned by doing this in other ways. So that would be how I started, and I just haven't stopped. I have decided that I'm not crazy about working with galleries. I've had several reach out, 2 that I followed through with, but I would rather have it just come straight from me. So now I feel like all I need to do is my next step in life is to work more on my marketing so people even know I exist. But other than that, that is my quick and dirty story of how I got started, and I hope only to move forward. And I'm so happy you're here with me. All right, friends, thank you, and we'll see you next Friday.